let's just run through, and I'll tell you what my thoughts are, and then you can correct me on things, and then we can think through about, you know, is there opportunity? Should we be swapping, right?
Okay.
So the big towel, the 26 by 59. Those are 420 GSM. GSM.
It's a new one.
It's the new one. I think it's around 4. It's around 4-ish.
Okay.
394 somewhere in there.
So that towel, the big one, you know, I find that if people are using my process, you know, very rarely using a drying towel.
Right.
Right. They'd be doing a small, more an application towel for a drying aid because, you know, we have the car coated or wax or something that will blow it off, and then just use, like, I'll use 3 of those to dry the whole car, you know, because I've blown off 90% of the water.
Right.
I end up using that towel a lot. Let's say I was claying, or if I was going to dry the car, I'm using that big towel, or if I'm drying my truck, you know, or actually, I believe it or not, I use that a lot with Carpro Eraser, you know, so, or a prep, what's Optimum's version of that?
Paint prep.
Yeah, so the paint prep type product, I'll use the bigger towel because then I can wipe it and then I can come follow with a, you know, with a smaller towel. I mean, I know you guys like, it was a twist loop. I still like waffle weave for drying. I don't know,
it's personal preference. Waffle is tried and true. The Korean ones, we've been selling this since day one.
So that is a Korean towel.
This is Korean. Never, ever, ever had any issues I'm aware of. I've never heard, you know, email, comments on the posts, anything related to the Korean waffle.
So an alternative to that would be a twist loop drying type towel, right?
True.
I don't know why. I feel like those towels snag more.
It's a loop, and that is true.
Or if they do snag, then it sticks out and it's more apparent, right?
Yep.
It doesn't impact the performance, but aesthetically, you're just like, ugh.
But those are more absorbent than these.
Yep. They are more absorbent.
Double.
But for me, again, I don't know. It feels right when I spritz it with some sort of like Optimum spray wax, and I come with a with a waffle weave type because most of the water is gone, right? So I really don't need a ton of absorption.
Sure.
And so my main thing is I find that it spreads more evenly the drying aid on the surface. And then I can, you know, follow with a really soft towel to kind of to clean up any smudges that are left over stuff. So I guess the only real large alternative would be to do a twist loop, which I prefer this. So I think that towel stays solid.
Yeah.
Okay. There's very few companies in the world that can do a black suede without bleeding. This will not bleed. This absolutely, you would never put that on a white towel because you're going to have issues. And the reason we're going away from the satin, you'll notice when you start getting the new ones of these, satin's going away from all of our lineup. The Pluffle, no more satin. We went to suede. Suede's absorbent, soft. You know, it's a much better material.
More efficient use of it.
Becomes more invisible in use.
Yes.
Right.
But what we did is, in the case of the Twistress, we took. It used to be a single layer towel. We put 2 towels together, and what happens with a lot of really large drying towels, they're tough to manipulate, handle by yourself. And so having something this size, the comment that we kept hearing when we released it that we knew we were onto something was, finally I can hand something off to my wife or kids or this or that, you know, where anybody
without it getting dragged.
It doesn't get dragged in the dirt. I can handle it. I can easily wring it out.
I don't know. That just appeals to me.
Yeah.
And it works. So anyway, that towel's staying. So then we're just working left to right.
Yes, sir.
Pluffle. I use the Pluffle. That's the towel that I throw behind my seat for whether I use the waterless wash.
Okay.
I'm sure many would use the detail spray. I don't. I use a waterless wash. I mean, to me, detail sprays don't really exist in my world anymore. I have a drying aid, dedicated drying aid, which will add some protection, or I'm doing waterless wash. Right. I don't see the need for a detail spray. So that's what I'm using that towel for primarily.
It's also, for what it's worth, the most absorbent material, pound for pound, than anything we've ever carried. Traditionally, you get with your 70-30, well, I'll start with the 80-20s. You're going to get about 7 times weight of liquid that you can absorb. When you get up to a 70-30, a really good one would be 10, just over 10. This is the only towel that we've ever tested where we got 11 times plus. And that's what shocked us when we first carried it.
This is a Korean towel or Chinese towel?
This is Korean.
Okay. So these are 70-30s.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So I don't know, this might be all in my head, but I feel like, okay, so I have dirt, spray it. I feel like the pockets tend to grab, at least this is my subjective sort of what I think is happening, is I feel like the pockets will tend to pick up the dirt.
At a scientific level, keep in mind, dirt has a negative charge. Microfiber has a positive charge. So it's going to naturally attract that, and it pulls it into the fibers.
Right.
But one of the other beauties about microfiber is it can quickly release when you rinse. It's going to let everything go. So it's a great waterless.
So how much of the the waffle weave or the waffle weave portion is more gimmick than? I mean, you just seemed like a good idea at the time, right? So
to
hey,
be
let's
honest,
do a high pile waffle weave and see what happens.
I hesitate to use the word gimmicky, but at the same time, it probably started that way.
Right.
When we got the first material from the factory, it was a lime green. It was an edgeless. But keep in mind the reason a waffle weave is so effective is because of surface area and surface tension and all this. When you have all these pockets, each one of these represents a cell or a pocket, creates more surface area as opposed to just being flat. But you've got a lot more surface area with that. So it functioned much the same as a waffle, where you have a greater surface area in those pockets.
I find that these, maybe it's just because of the way the material is set up, like the waffle weaves tend to last forever. Like forever.
They do last a very long time.
Yeah. Versus these, I don't use these as often as I do the waffles. Like every time I clean the glass, I'm using this waffle weave towel, and I'm cycling through them all the time. Some of mine are years old, or these will get used less because I'm using it more as a car show type towel. I like for glass. I like this. The baby blue just feels old man to me. The baby blue version. So I don't know. This just seems. It doesn't really matter whether it's white or green or purple, but I don't know. It just looks good. I like the way all these look together. So part of it. That's part of it. So then we'll come to this, but this is my favorite towel. So I'm trying to think about. I'd like to have the gray ones too. I don't know why, just for the heck of it, but I got to figure out where I would put it, what I would use it for.
Having the option of the dual pile, where you've got a shorter nap for removing polish wax and the longer side for buffing, or if you use it as a waterless, rinseless wash towel,
I'll use it. Yeah, as rinseless, right?
And they've just been really, really good.
Levi and I were talking earlier about, I use the car wash towel as a polish removal. These four are the same towel, of course, just different colors. Maybe I'll transition from, because I'd like to use these for polish removal, but I don't want to use my main drying aid towel for polish. Usually these wash out well, so I've never been a big stickler in that, oh my gosh, I have to use this only for that application and that's it. Because usually, throw these in the wash, I don't even know what I did with it.
Professional detailers, because time is money, and Levi is Mr. Efficiency, so he can attest to this. And we've had a few other detailers weigh in, and they say that the only problem with the Creature is because it has the two surfaces, they're grabbing the towel. They don't want to have to try to figure out, okay, am I working with the short nap or am I working with the long nap? So they'll go to a system, and what you've designed is basically a system for you. So for them, they're designing an efficiency system with tools that perform best for their needs. So they're going to find a tool that works best for different circumstances, and they'll go with color coordinating and stuff, but they want it both the same on both sides, so that no matter which side they're at, they don't have to try to figure it out.
So you have the option for, which is the towel that has this on both sides? Is there one?
Well, now we're gonna go off a little bit off course here. I'm gonna grab the 350 here. Only because this is just so flipping soft, and it's a great all-purpose. This is like the baby brother of our Eagle Edgeless 500. That's our legacy towel, flagship towel, the one that put us viral many years ago. But in the case of, once again, for a lot of professional detailers, it's kind of the opposite. A lot of enthusiasts think they have to have bigger, plusher, thicker.
Yeah, I've headed down that path at one point.
It's not always the wisest way necessarily, but it just feels, you know,
right.
Psychologically, I've got to have that big, thick towel. But we gave this to some people, including one of our large customers. He's got number one products on Amazon in about 4 or 5 different categories, and we sent that to him, and he said, "Oh my God," he said, "I tested it out, I used it, I can feel the paint with a plush towel like I've never been able to work with." You know, I'm not the pro detailer. These guys are the pro detailers, so I'm not going to try to pretend it. But what they have said is they're able to feel, you know, the distance from where they're working to the paint is greatly diminished. They can really feel. Jason Kilmer, he was the one who commented about that.
He loves those.
Absolutely loves this towel. Now, the vast majority of edgeless towels out there,
like the Creature, like the Minx,
they're ultrasonically cut by our competitors and others. They're ultrasonically cut. And the problem with cutting ultrasonically is heat, humidity. You've got a lot of different factors that come into play. And in addition to the machine that you're using itself. But if you're cutting too hot, you're going to melt the edges. And if you're cutting too cool, think of it like cauterizing your skin. It doesn't properly cut it, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't guarantee that it'll, but it doesn't seal it correctly. And so it has a higher possibility of linting. These are, it's a new kind of a knife. They're knife cut, and then they tumble them. And so the new ones, and this is one of the new ones that we've got, it's absolutely the best edges I've ever seen. You will never find an edge on here that is melted. We could not be more excited. And you know, this is why like I say, like on this one, I really hope you find a home for it in your lineup.
How would this do for drying?
same way
That's
as
what
the
you're going to have
waffle.
to prove out. I don't want you taking my word. You need to put that to the test yourself.
Because there's a weight difference. I mean, you can just feel the heaviness of the towel.
They're actually
10 GSM.
Yeah, they're actually
this
pretty
feels
close.
lighter to me, but I guess not.
It's because of
the sponginess of it.
Yeah.
And that's what this towel, to be honest, this one where it's settled in at is a fantastic rinseless towel, waterless towel. And the reason is when it gets a weird consistency, like a sponge-like quality to it,
right,
that performs really well. And I'm looking at you guys because you've proven it out.
But see, I like this better because I feel like this mats up a little bit more. It holds more water.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we're talking minuscule differences here, right?
But just working with a sponge versus working with a towel, and it's just this, it gets a different consistency. And given the choice, I think more and more people will gravitate towards that, where it's more acceptable.
This certainly feels better when you get on the paint and you do. You feel like you're doing less damage. Right?
Yeah.
But that's why I like this, because it's a hybrid, right? This feels a lot to me when I'm dragging across the paint. It feels a lot like this does.
Yeah.
But then
it's
gives
got
me the lower
quality of this
pile.
type.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, 16 by 24 interior towel, this is no question. This is my favorite thing. I love this thing. So that stays.
They are tough. They're universal. They can be washed hundreds of times.
I think what I want, because I love this creature so much, I want to use this gray one for something.
Yeah.
And I think I want to use this for polish removal.
I think it's a great idea.
So I like this, but I'm looking for, this is good for polish removal, but I'm looking for great.
Yeah.
And I tried these, but I like this much
Yeah.
better.
So in my shop, that's what I use Creatures
Yeah.
as polish removal towels. and they work really well. And again, the biggest thing is you're bumping from an 80-20 to a 70-30 in your polish removal. So on softer paints, folks that have that softer paint, they're not going to have that.
Because another option would be to do the 245.
And we have a ton of customers. Matter of fact, I have a Canadian customer. He buys thousands and thousands of these all the time for that very purpose. He sells them as a coating removal towel because they're soft. One of the things about the 245s, they're an 80-20, but they're soft and they perform really well. Now, are they going to work with all coatings? Not necessarily. Oh, in line.
Because what I'm also missing, so I've got a disconnect here with multi-purpose / coating. I think I need to separate those, so that might necessitate a 10th towel, right? And so that's when either a 245 or a pearl could come in. And then if you had that one coating that didn't work, you could pull out the 350, or you could pull out something else if you needed to.
You can make a recommendation for that.
Right. And I'd say, and the recommendation would be, grab your most beat up one, because you're gonna, you're gonna end up tossing it, when you're doing the coating removal.
Although once again, that's backwards from.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, because you buy a $200 bottle of coating, and then you're worried about $10.
Yeah.
But I'm giving people the opportunity to you could remove polish with this, you could remove polish with this, you could remove polish with this.
Find what works best for you.
You could use this as a drying aid towel, you can use this as a drying aid towel, you can use this. But I think having all of these together, I think they all complement each other, and you'll find an application for it. So I have the starter package and the other, which of course I can change to whatever I want. But so we have 10
Carolyn, you want to call Coop?
navy 16 by 24s, right?
Uh-huh.
Waffle, and then we would do 10 pluffles, then we would do 10 navy creatures, we'd do 10 of the
Eagle 350s.
Yeah. I might just do 10 of everything.
Yeah, they're so cheap that
So that was the green.
They are so cheap.
245.
So we're gonna do 10 of the creature gray creature, right? I almost want to do 20. 10 of the green, 10 red. And these are the 16 by 27. What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, foot to the floor.